Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Lucid, and we are back with more of our Late Age Ctis playthrough. And whereas last episode was a bit rambly, it was a butt rambly too. Uh, this one hopefully will be a bit more fast paced. We got a lot of turns to go through, and we'll get through them. So we got payment from Bogarus in terms of a for a skull staff we were making for him. We got 10 death and 3 earth. He wanted to pay 11 gems, and I was like, come on, man. Needs some profit. But also, I kind of knew I'd be attacking him, so not really going to give him, like, super friend rates, especially on a booster. Anyhow, yeah, I'm happy to trade with them. The player seems really cool, too. I really like the Bogarus player. But yeah, we had this turn, also a bunch of patrolling out of these guys here. And we sent Bogarus last turn, or we're sending them this turn a message. Along with this skull staff, I think we need to end our non-aggression pact. We are concerned that the monkeys are going to run over you after the losses suffered to Raga. I want to be in a position to vulture and get a decent chunk of land if that does happen. It's also worth mentioning that you have been a good and honorable neighbor, and if you show that you will not be dying, we'll definitely be willing to reconsider. Given you received this on turn 31, orders can be issued on 33 and resolve on 34. So that's it, boys. We're going to war, or boys and girls. We're going to war against Bogarus. This is going to be an epic war between the Egyptian-inspired lizards against the cold peoples of Bogarus. And, yeah, so the thing is, I don't really want to commit much to this war. And so in some ways, I'm thinking the monkeys are going to probably, like, spank Bogarus. There's some things that could make this tricky, though. Like, Bogarus can do turn 1 arrow fend, and monkeys are primarily, it looks like, using big archer stacks. So that's a thing. Yeah. The other thing is, and I think I'd mentioned this previously, but, Ulm and Patala had pieced out with Man, and Man's going to be fighting Utgard, and Utgard has pulled his stuff back to get ready to fight. I'm worried there's not going to be enough Utgard mages to magic duel all of the Man mages, and if he can't magic duel all the Man mages, then the Man mages are going to kill all of his Garm herdings. And there's not really many ways about that. That's just kind of how that's going to go down. Yeah. But at least there's a few things that Utgard kind of has going. One is that he's got Fortitude, which makes rocks a bit less oppressive for Garm herdings, I believe. It's half the damage that's getting spread from each hit. So we'll see. Phalegra is coming over here to take the stuff back. Phalegra and I talk in Discord, and Phalegra asks, like, hey, what are your plans? I had been thinking about killing them, because I think I would be set up to kill them, and I could combine forces, like these guys here and these guys here, and like push through and combine somewhere around here, I don't know, and try to make a play for their capital. Some ways it's an easier war for me, but I want them to get tyrants online because I want to steal some of them. And you might be like, Lucid, how are you going to steal? You're not an astral nation. You're not even a nature nation, really, goddammit. And you'd be right. But we're going to try to make the friendship hat and steal with our god. So how well that works or how well it doesn't remains to be seen. But we'll find out. Either way, I'd really like to have some big Laestrygonian tyrants. The other thing is we may not get a chance to do that. It may be we need Phalegra to be a strong ally against Man if Man needs Utgard, or, a strong ally against Ulm if Arm starts going crazy. So, when I'm talking about, like, planning on going on Phalegra, it doesn't mean I'm going to, right? It means I'm thinking about it. But I may be allied with them to the rest of the game. It all depends. It all depends. But for now, we're fighting Bogarus, and I believe Phalegra's going to go mess with Arithia or something that we're saying. So anyway, as per usual, we won't tell any of the players any of the other players' plans. We don't want to be, be too loose-lipped about anything. We're going to come up here and try to site search this, see if we can find an earth or fire site here. And we don't really have to move out against Bogarus yet. The monkeys are going to have their big battle probably before our nap finishes ticking down. And on the turn our nap ticks down, we'll put a big army here and get ready to fight. There's a bunch of other things that we're starting to do. I'm casting reanimation here I want to start, and you're like, why would you do that when you have like people who can free spawn make it? Well, this is an enchantment discount site. Reanimation only costs 2 death gems here. And I don't need like a slow build up of Long Dead. I need a fast build up to patrol these 4 provinces. Because I don't want people having scouts in here to see what I'm about to start doing. And all this is going to start going down in probably about like 9 or 10 turns. And so I need to get the patrol chaff. I need to start generating the patrol chaff now. I could also maybe do wolves. That would be another thing to consider. Like, we don't have it yet. We need a bit of conjuration here. But yeah, anyway, we could summon some wolves and maybe do that too. It's not a horrible idea. But I need to patrol all this shit out. Because I don't want people knowing what I'm doing. Because nobody really knows the gruesome, horrific potential of this build in the late game. So yeah, we don't want them finding out until it's upon them. So that is that. Yeah, let's go to the next turn. All right, we've got turn 31 here. So we get some pearls, because one of the things that happened last turn was that Man had put up Earthblood Deepwell. And Man, we're kind of thinking Man's going to wreck Utgard. And Man's pretty big. They've already eaten Midgard, and they're playing really aggressively. And it's good player. And they're probably going to roll over Utgard. And this, what Earthblood Deepwell is going to mean for Man, is later they're going to have Riches from Beneath. And Man gets really good troops. They get Tower Guard and stuff. And it's going to be a big income boost to them. So, yeah, we're the Tower Guard, these guys. So having these guys poured out at like double the rates from all their forts, I don't think any of us are really excited about that. So we're doing a cast. I think most people put in 10 gems. I'm putting in 10 gems. And, but yeah, Patala is putting in more. Patala had a lot of Astral, so they're putting in 25. And honestly, we're putting in probably more than we need to cast. I think, what do we do, like 55? Oh, whoops, not teleport. I think I put in like 55. Yeah. Did a 55 dispel. So they sent 45 gems. I'm adding 10. And then using a god turn. Because I think I have the highest astral of all the contributors. So that's happening. Hopefully we take out Earthblood Deepwell. This is a pretty strong overcast considering the paths on my god and not overcast or dispel and how many extra gems we're putting in. It's unlikely that Man, especially putting up Earthblood Deepwell this early, has overcast it by much. Maybe he overcast it by like 10 or probably none. So it's like guaranteed that it's going to work basically, I think. But you never know. We've got some scouts that are starting to go into the Bogarus land so we can have a better idea what's going to happen. And I believe this is the turn, that maybe it's next turn that they have their big fight. We'll talk about it next turn just because I'm not sure. We do see a big battle between Ulm and Vettiheim, and this is the final battle for Vettiheim's fort. And a lot of little Gaijas getting hit by arrows here. And sadly, a lot of these guys are just doing Animate Dead. And you can see the behemoths running back here, causing all sorts of problems. They are getting hit by a lot of things, so that one dies. These Rimbetti have magic weapons, so they're actually pretty good at killing an ethereal behemoth. But then these guys are ethereal, and they run through as well. It's just, it's pretty brutal. So Ulm with just a really well-scripted army. It always makes me excited when I see players with really well-scripted armies in games, just because I kind of know I'm going to get to fight against them, too, later. I mean, it might be Ulm and I never fight, and right now we're pretty good buddies in the game. But, you know, to win the game, I'm probably going to have to fight him unless somebody else kills him. And if somebody kills him and he's scripting his armies that well, there you go. But yeah, so Ulm's conquered Vettiheim. We end up signing a NAP 3 with them this turn. And Ulm wanted to know if I wanted to go on Phlegra. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, I had been thinking about it, but I kind of want to save them for later. And so anyway, Ulm is probably going to find something else to do. And I think they're going to go after Arithia. And I'm going to find something better to do, which is going to be to go after Bogarus. Any other things for this turn? We didn't find any magic sites. We found some magic sites last turn. I can't remember which one it was. I don't know which is new and which isn't, but yeah, we found some. Maybe it was here, or no, it wasn't here. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, let's keep going as we get ready for this war with Bogarus. And the war with Bogarus. This is the turn we find out how this battle went between the monkeys and Bogarus. If it wasn't this turn, it would have been the turn before. But by this turn, we certainly have. And the unfortunate news is, while I thought I was going to be... So I had also sent Patala a message. So it's this turn that the battle actually happened. I remember. Because I remember this fort looking like this. I had asked Patala, like, hey, I can either come in and just vulture this after you beat Bogarus, or I can help you, but I'll probably want more of the spoils. What would you like me to do? And he's like, oh, why don't you come in and help? More help the merrier. And I was like, all right. So my plan is to, like, attack a bunch of this stuff. But it turns out that Bogarus stomps the crap out of Patala here. Patala had a big army massed here the previous turn, and they attack onto this fort here. And Bogarus had Aerofend, right? So a lot of Patala's troops weren't doing much. And I can't remember too much else from the details, but apparently Bogarus had just a ton of mage support and a pretty well-scripted army. He wasn't doing big elementals, but he was doing, like, Horde of Skeletons and things like that. And I think he was doing a fair amount of Thunderstrike, too. And, yeah, he just, with a ton of diverse mage support, he spanked Patala. So, anyway, we're moving all our stuff into position this turn. We're not going to be deterred. And in fact, in some ways, this actually is kind of ideal, because our Bless is really fucking good for dealing with mages. He's also doing Gifts of Heaven. So, yeah, our Bless is really good at dealing with mages. So if he doesn't have a lot of troops and he just has some mages that are going to hit me with evocations, I mean, Horde of Skeletons, not as much. But honestly, with Skeletal Legion, and I think honestly just Skeletal Legion will do okay. Depending how much Horde of Skeletons spam he's got. But anyway, I think it'll be kind of okay. Anyway, we're moving into position. We're hiding what gems we're going to have. We're also bringing this Ring of Water Breathing to put it onto this commander and send it back the next turn. But we're set up to do Darkness. There's not... I'm going to end up taking all the gems off of these guys. So we're moving scouts here, right? So if there's not going to be a major battle, if he can't move all the mages and do an epic defense, then we're going to move mages off of our dudes when we're having battle, so that A, they don't spin them, and B, they don't reveal our script. So we'll see exactly how that goes. We're also moving scouts over here. We'll probably do a bunch of Arouse Hunger on the next turn when we attack. And I don't... Oh, we got a Lab and a Thunderbow. That was kind of cool. Some more gems. So kind of a rare good turn for events for us. And next turn is going to bring us to the war start. So we'll go ahead and skip forward to that. All right, and this is turn 33, which I believe is the start of the war. And one of the things we did last turn was, and this is something we'd been planning, was we empowered our god in Earth. And I've kind of mapped out all the things. We're going to have to empower our god again, because I want to make Atlas of Creation. It's important to me. And we also need to get High Earth on our nation, so we're going to be spending a tremendous number of gems. I really wanted these Earth Paths on my Pretender, and it really sucks doing a double empower on your god. I mean, it's just a tremendous... It's 80 gems. It's a tremendous number. And even then, we're not super high. We don't have... I'll have to twice born her and, like, send her off to die to get boot slots if we ever want to have really high Earth on her. But with a Ring of Sorcery and either, like, a Bloodstone or one of the other, like, unique astral artifact, like Earth artifacts, we could easily get up to Earth 4. So, and then with Power of the Spheres or something in combat, we could be Earth 5. So there's things we can do to get high enough Earth to summon Troll Kings and stuff without having feat slots, but we'll just see. The other thing we can do is like a Staff of Elemental Mastery or Sword of Many Colors, which will give an Elemental Path boost as well. So a bunch of little things we can do. She's going to go back to Blood Hunting this turn, and we're making... So we moved her Ura over here to start Blood Hunting. And next turn we'll have enough to empower another Scout in Blood. And we'll have 2 Blood Hunters, which is not amazing, right? But it'll be hopefully good enough for us. Yeah. What else? We are moving on to... Did we find any sites this turn? We did not. For events... We got attacked by trolls, which is kind of funny. This guy got shrunk. We might end up twice borning him, because it'll happen at a discount now since he's size 1. Some people moved around, and then we got attacked by the trolls. They were delayed a turn in coming. I thought they were coming the previous turn, but they've been slow in coming. They did eventually arrive. So they kind of get split up as they break upon the Bakemono. And then they have to fight our serpents. And our serpents really don't like getting hit by these trolls. They hit really hard. So we killed them, but we lost 3 tomb worms. So a little annoying, and it's just, we have really bad defense, so they're going to hit us every time, and the 10 protection we have doesn't matter that much versus 30 damage Great Club. So they kind of knock the dog crap out of us every time they hit. Fortunately, we killed them quick enough as well, so they routed. And now these guys are going to come up and help. We're not going to be mobilizing this stuff to go up here. We need a fighting contingent down south. So we're going to keep these over here just as peacekeepers in the region. We're reanimating more tomb worms over here, but otherwise things are kind of holding steady. It does feel kind of weird that I have this enchantment site, and I was like, oh, we're going to make a ton of these guys, and we haven't really made that many yet. And the reason is because we're in save-up mode now for... We need to save up enough death gems to make all the death artifacts we want to make. And we have quite a few that we're interested in creating. So that is that. The army coming in. So our scouts here have shown us that nothing is here. So there was a chance this last turn that Bogarus took his mages and moved down here and then would fight us here. But because that didn't happen... there's nothing he can really do. So we're not going to put any... We've taken all the gems off of our mages. You see, none of the mages have gems, except this guy who's our... I should find a scout, but he's just a gem mule for me right now. Yeah. And so we're going to we're going to attack the fort. We've got a decent number of mercs as well. We got these guys who you've seen a lot this playthrough. They're really strong. The Eternal Knights. And then we got some much more lowly siege chaff, the Merry Men and the Lions. So anyway, they're coming on, and hopefully we one turn pop that fort. So that is this turn. I don't think there's too much else to talk about. We are casting Reanimation twice here as we move this guy out to start probably patrolling over here. And with that, let's go ahead and go to the next turn, turn 34. All right, in turn 34, I didn't mention this, but I did some magic phase attacks with Arouse Hunger, and there's some Staretsa here that I wanted to pick off. Unfortunately, these Smeargles jump back here and kill both of my ghouls. And so it HP routes the army. Who knew? I mean, these guys don't really have great stats, but they just wrecked my ghouls. I think we got a little unlucky, but I think it was also just kind of well done by Bogarus. And then these guys who certainly would have gotten munched solar raised the crap out of my guys. So we end up getting just demolished here. This should have won. If they didn't snipe the commanders, it would have won. So should isn't really a real word, but we lost here. And we lost here too. This is another one. Looked pretty easy. I was thinking it was 6 PD. It turned out to be 10, which makes it a bunch more dicey. But yeah, we just lost a few too many guys. It was pretty close to working as well. The net effect of all of that is both of these attacks don't work. And we ping this because I'm thinking if Bogarus wants to kick me off this fort, he's going to take everything he has and move it here this turn. So I need to see what it is so I can know whether I fight it. But there's nothing here. And the monkeys, of course, having their big army crushed, are rebuilding. And Bogarus has a bunch of stuff here. So this army here, we have one turn pop this fort. I think we actually had a friendly fire to an archer who shot one of our own tomb worms. So there's a lot of blood vengeance going. There's also really interesting things. We can probably see it here. Don't see a pin roll on this guy. Let's check this guy. So this kind of is interesting. Here you can see the blood vengeance thing. Hopefully I talked about this at the beginning of the series. There's a kind of interesting mechanic with repel and blood vengeance. So here we hit him. He repels us because we have really bad defense and a very low length weapon. So we get repelled, but we also have really good morale. So we negate the repel with morale. And what that means is you get attacked by the person defending. So in this case, a Peshti spearman. And they do the full damage calculation. That's hidden. If that damage calculation versus our protection does any damage, it gets reduced to 1. And so the max you can take from this attacker damaged by repel is 1 damage, but you might also take 0 if you have high enough protection. Hope that makes sense. Then that 1 damage that we take is going to proc blood vengeance. And because we have fate weaving, the way that's going to work, first we have to pass an MR check, which in this case we did, for the blood vengeance to work. They have to, not us. So in this case, they didn't pass it. The MR check went in our favor. And so then there's a damage roll. And in this case, you can see it's a damage roll of 1 plus 12. The reason this 12 is pretty high, so this is the one that went through repel, or the 1 repel damage. But this is the DRN, but it's also affected by fate weaving, right? So it's, the 2 DRNs instead of 1. Versus the 0 plus the 1 DRN from the Void Spearman. So in this case, this guy actually got better rolls than me. Like if we didn't have fate weaving, this probably wouldn't have done any damage. Because, if on average this would have been 1 plus 6, it would have been 7, and it would have been 7 versus 9, wouldn't have been any damage. But, yeah, it ended up being a bonus 4 damage here. So we got a bonus 4 damage here, and then we got bonus damage on the actual attack itself. So this is the rest of the attack roll calculation. So anyway, yeah, he ended up taking a lot of damage here. Now this was up to 18 from slashing. So I think what happened, it says he got damaged for 18, but I think he actually got damaged by more than that. I think he got damaged for 22. That's a pretty damaging hit. Anyway, he's very. I wonder if we can actually see that. Yeah, you can actually see that here if we zoom in high enough. You can see the 18, and you can see the 4 right on top of it. Because as they come up, they go up together. They happened at the exact same time. There's an 18 right here and a 4. So yeah, he took 22 damage from that hit. So anyway, kind of cool interaction, and that's not super unique. We actually can probably just tell. Like that happened again just right here, you can see. This one looked like a really high roll, actually. It could have been a different one attacking him. Wait, 21-18. Maybe those guys just hit at the same time. Because this is 21. The other guy might have done 18. That might not have happened that particular turn. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't look like we were getting repelled there. So it doesn't happen all the time. I think we'll watch it again, see how much it happens at the start, because it's a kind of interesting mechanic. It's unlikely you've ever seen this before or thought about it. Okay, you should also see the damage, the blood vengeance thing happening as well. So in this case, they hit. Okay, this one, it happened here again, I'm pretty sure. This whoever did 16 damage. Was it 16 or 15? Morale negated. Attacker damage by repel. Yeah, so this was 6 damage. So you can see there's a 6 right here in the middle. So I thought it was 16. It's actually 15 damage. So it's 12 that got moved up to 15. You can see that written here, 15. And then written right on top of it is a 6. So yeah, this was a 21 damage attack as well. So kind of cool. It does increase the killiness of these guys in many different ways. Very cool stuff in my humble opinion. And we've popped the fort. So the move now is we're going to take everybody, all of our mercs, not everybody, all of our mercs and move them down here. What I want to do is just start taking away Bogarus income, taking this stuff. And then I could be kind of disrespectful to him. I know there's 5 or 10 Malia Regina inside and probably 5 mages. That's what I suspect. I could try to take this with just the Sarumancers and move the whole army forward, but I think that would be very greedy, right? And we're fighting in Cold 3. I don't really want to fuck around with this and like test really efficient shit. I just want to make sure things don't go. I'm not even in a hurry for this war with Bogarus, right? Like we're just trying to not get too far behind as we wait for our main strategy to come online. So yeah, I'm not going to risk anything. We're going to go ahead and attack this with everything. The plan is basically these guys are going to be in front on attack rear. Another group behind them on attack rear. People on guard commander. I actually changed this army up a good bit in a couple turns. We are bringing in reinforcements. So because we were on it this turn, I had let this guy wait. And I actually think for the turn I put these guys on him too. But yeah, we have this guy come in, bring some reinforcements. He's twice spawned. If he dies, we don't really care. So we have a few twice spawned mages here. We'll probably start using him for more risky operations. But we don't want him to get soul slayed or anything, which I don't know if the monkeys are doing. But yeah, so we're going to attack here with the mercs. We're going to storm here with these guys. And our research really has been kicking up. We'll look at that next turn. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the next turn. Oh, before I do, we found a labyrinth of skulls here. So one more site. Or we'll take a look at all our gem income and stuff this next turn. So here we go. Okay, so here's my current turn. As you can see at the bottom right. A dire portent goes up. And we have Well of Misery getting cast by Calum. Now, Calum was one of the people who contributed towards taking down Earthblood Deepwell. And Calum probably is in position 1 right now, actually. They might be in a position 2. I think they and Man are kind of tied for position 1. Calum's research is off the charts. They have, I think, Evocation 7, Construction 6, and now they're at Conjuration 8. They are killing Jomin right now, which is their first war, but I think they were pretty big. I mean, they're just crushing research in like a very big way. And we see this turn. I think there was probably some action last turn 2 I didn't show you, but Utgard's kind of like waiting to probe Man to see what Man does. But he's kind of being way too passive. He has to be really careful not getting grokked, but he also can't like let Man just run over and take all of his shit. And apparently Man is like through probably Cloud Trapeze Raiders and various other things, has taken pretty much all of Utgard's stuff now. But Utgard hasn't had a big battle yet. We'll come back and look at... Well, actually, let's look at this army now. So, this Man is being played by Kosk, who's a good player. Anyway, he's worried, obviously, about Magic Duel. I was thinking, what are these guys for? And if you watch, they're off script this turn. They're going to cast Body Ethereal, which I'm pretty sure they weren't going to cast. So these are almost certainly Phoenix Pyre Magic Duel baiters, right? So they're going to cast Phoenix Pyre and then probably Earth Power. And what's going to happen is the Phoenix Pyre will go off before Magic Duel. When they get hit with Magic Duel, because the people in the front tend to get targeted first, they will bounce around there's a very good chance, probably greater than 50% chance, they jump forward, which means they'll be targeted by more magic duels. So they'll get hit, go bing, 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 and die in a slurry of magic duel fights. Some of them will get bounced to the back, and then as they get bounced to the back, they won't be targeted, and these other guys will. So I sent Utgard a message, because right now they're getting completely run over by man, and I don't really want that to happen. They need to at least put up a fight. I was saying you need probably at least 30 magic duels to take this army. Because you can take this army with a few rocks landing on your Garms, but you can't do it with massive numbers of rocks, which is what this is. There'd be tons of gifts from heaven and shit. These troops they can chop up pretty easily. It's not a problem for 100 Garms. I'll make very quick work of this. But they need to kill enough mages they don't get rocked to hell in the meantime. So that's that. Yeah. It's a pretty spooky army. He's got some other interesting stuff. He's got a Wailing Windscaster here. He's got this guy with a ton of air gems. Most likely, I think it's mass flight, but it's hard to know exactly. Firefiend, maybe, or something. Who knows? Maybe he does Heat from Hell, so he doesn't get Grip of Wintered. A bunch of these things are a little tricky to know. I'm not really sure what's going to happen. But yeah. Anyway, cool shit. He's got some thugs here. Counter thugs. So these guys are going to be spooky. They're going to make quick work. If they're not really going to be a problem for Garm herding, so we'll just probably chop through them, is my expectation. But one of the things Utgard could try to do is like send out Scrotty or something, or some kind of super combatant-y thug. And generally that's a hard thing to do against Gifts of Heaven. So probably don't need this in the army, but this is just another countermeasure that if Utgard tries to thug them, then they'll probably get wrecked. And this guy almost certainly, without even looking, I know there's a water gem on this guy, because he would have done quickness on these guys, and then they would be very, very killy. I mean, these are going to do okay against Garms. Like, they'll do a lot of damage. Probably going to do, like, Earth Might or something to get a bonus strength, and then they're going to be doing 42 damage or something quickened. So yeah, I mean, they will do a lot of damage to Garm herdings. So it still, this is where Fortitude really helps though, because like, okay, yeah, they're doing 42 damage, but it's going to get cut to 20 damage, which is going to get distributed out. And then the Garms will kill these guys reasonably quickly, I think, too. So I think this is a fight Utgard can win. But it's a fight Utgard has to play very, very well to win it. And he has to have enough mages. And I don't know if Utgard has enough mages. If Utgard can only do 10 or 12 magic duels, I think he loses. If Utgard can do 20 or 30 magic duels, 30 I think he wins. 20 I think it's going to be super fucking dicey. And some of it depends with the RNG, and this is my estimation. I haven't tested it or anything, right? But this is also my estimation based on how effective these Phoenix Power Magic Duel Catchers are going to be. So we'll have to see. Anyway, that's what's happening over there. Over here, we storm. So Bogarus rides out, but retreats, which I think is the right move. This Bogarus player's been making really good plays. So hats off to Saluki, I believe, who's the Bogarus player. He defended against Raga, though he took some significant losses, which is kind of why he's getting jumped right now. But he seems to, and he defended against Patala. And then I'm kind of like the third person coming in here, which isn't really fair. And he does cool shit. Like, look at this. So this mage back here, it's a single occultist. And he does Power of the Spheres, and then Reinvigoration. And then, so now, because he's done Power of the Spheres, he's Astral 2, Death 2, Blood 2. And now he does Call Horror, or Call Lesser Horror. And that makes one little dude over here, and we'll watch this guy's little adventure. So you can see the horror down here. Comes up. Takes a pop at both of those guys. Takes another pop. Does he kill them? I thought he killed one of them. Oh, I guess he doesn't quite kill him. Almost kills the Tomb Worm, but then this guy yeets him with Drain Life. Or this guy yeeted him with Drain Life. So, Our guys are scripted to do invulnerability, so we're going to be pretty resistant to wall archers and stuff. And we've got the skeletal body as well. That's really what we're worried about, is wall archers picking us off here. And then they're on advancing cast. More raised dead casting. The wall archers are trying to run. Drain lives are coming out. It's a hard day to be a Bogarusian. The mage never woke up after casting Call Lesser Horror. So it was kind of expensive. It didn't really work out. Not expensive, but, you know. It wasn't worth... Was it worth 6 slaves and a pearl to summon that Lesser Heart? No. But it gives me ideas that this guy's thinking about things. While it didn't work for the single mage, if he had a lot of mages doing it, it could be a lot more effective. Because we actually were having a tough time taking him out. Like, look how long he was tied up in melee with these guys. So he's at 19 HP. He takes 3 damage. There's 2 dudes attacking him, and now 2 dudes and a long dead dude. Another round, and they didn't do any damage. So just troops versus troops, those horrors are actually going to do pretty well. And we can kind of look at these guys and see what happened here, why they weren't killing him. So first of all, he missed. Now, while they have very high attack scores, the Horror Mantis is a pretty good defense. And then we hit, but they also have pretty good protection. So here we did some damage, but didn't get past protection. And they also aren't going to repel us because they've got linked 0 weapons just like we do. So they're going to not get past the... or, you know, they're going to have the same thing where... they're not going to have the same thing where we do extra damage because we're getting repelled. Anyway. But yeah, so got protection tanked here. This other guy... We hit him for 3 points of damage. We saw that, right? Then we get punched a bunch, and then we hit him for 0, where again we get protection tanked. So, which makes you think, like, okay. Now he wasn't having to fight like a ton of worms, but if you can imagine that he summoned 20 of those guys, and we're only drain lifing, 3 of them a turn, which you can it's kind of cool. You can see the drain life bolt going through. But yeah, if we're only drain lifing like 3 of them a turn, it could be bad news, right? So this is a Bogarus player that's going to deserve some respect, and that's going to be really important for the moves we make this turn, and we'll talk about those in a minute. Here are our mercs rolling out. Got our archers on fire archers, so they're shooting the crossbows. And we have some success here, didn't lose anybody. So we're going to be dividing and conquering these guys, taking both of these provinces next to Arco. Hopefully we don't bump. There's a chance we do. If Arco really wants these, I could probably sell them to him. But Arco's off pursuing their own war against... I want to say it's against Arithia as well. So they probably have their own things to take care of. Yeah, we could sell it to him. I'll probably ask for money, though. I probably don't want to give it to him for free. I really wanted... So here's the guys who retreated out. I don't even think there's probably reinforcements. I think this is just... It's 16 guys. I think that's just how it displays. Malady, Regina, and a cultist. When really, there's a Peshti guard, there's an imp. It's a lot more than just a cultist here. So I think that these are the people that retreated out. He has 2 options. One is, so the monkeys have talked to me, and they said they're moving back in here this turn. So Bogarus could anticipate that, move out here to fight the monkeys. Or they could anticipate the monkeys are going to move here and prepare to fight them in this fort. I think the best move for Bogarus to make is to say, well, this army, sadly, well, if you look at it, these guys are map move 14, right? And you say, how far can you go with 14 of the Tomb Worms? This is 22 to get here. This is 20, and this is 19. So we cannot 2 province move and attack. You're like, okay. Well, what could this army do then? This army basically that I have has 2 moves. We could either move here, or we could move here. If we move here, we kind of waste an army turn. You know, like that's a lot of mages walking around. We're not taking territory. It kind of sucks. If we move here, we take territory, but this is land that will probably go to the monkeys eventually. The monkeys had told me they want this and above. After losing their army, they were kind of like, hey, you can take their capital. So we can come up here and fight for this, but there's a good chance Bogarus moves all their mages here. And to be quite honest, I don't even know if we win against all these mages. Like, especially if he's got Conjuration 5, I think he wins. And I'm not really under time pressure to win this war quickly. I mean, I need to stay relevant. I don't want to get super small, so it'd be nice to win the war. But the monkeys are coming. They're going to apply pressure. I think what I really want to do, if I was confident that I would win decisively if he took all the mages and moved here, even if it would cause significant attrition, I would do it because it'd help the monkeys out. We'd close the war faster. But I'm not confident that is the case. I think if he moves all the mages here, even if he just does like all the occultists and does horror shit and retreat, there's even a small chance he wins. Like if he could summon 20 lesser horrors, there's a chance that could roll my army. Unlikely. But if he certainly if he does elemental spam and horrors, I think we lose. And if he just commits everything and PD dumps, I'm pretty sure we lose. So we're not going to be moving here. I thought long and hard about it. I put move orders in to move here, and then I was like, ugh. If it was just me and Bogarus, I might do it. But the fact that I have another player means I'm really not on the clock. I don't really have to do any of this shit quickly. I can kind of take my time. And the taking my time move is, like, what Bogarus' objective should be is to not lose his army. So it's great he retreated these dudes out of here. So he needs to not lose his army, and he needs to take fights whenever he can engage them. And to do that, and this will also give us a bit of a window into the mind of the Bogarus player this next turn. If he moves everybody here, first of all, we're going to ping it and see what it is. So it's going to tell me like what his plan for fighting me is. But it's also going to tell me he's thinking very well. Because this, in my opinion, is the optimal move for Bogarus. Come here with everything and get ready to fucking fight. And if he does that, then it will mean he's doing what he should, which is trying to take fights wherever he can to eliminate armies, because that's how he gets peace. He eliminates an army, then he comes back and eliminates another army, and eventually he's like, are you guys tired of doing this shit? Like, how about y'all just leave me the fuck alone? And I would have been like if he killed this army, I wouldn't come to any terms with him, but I would have come to very reasonable terms with him. If he really pushed it, I'd even give this fort back if I lose this army. Depending on how much reinforcements I have. In practice, he would never give this fort back from me due to all my poisoners I could move into it. If I didn't want him to, but it's like, how much is that worth to me? Right now, I definitely don't want to move in poisoners around more than I have to, because I want them researching, because our research is humming along as we get closer to construction 8. We have construction 7, we got that this turn. We also did not find any magic sites this turn. Speaking of which, this dire portent that went up, we should be getting every turn 5 death gems from Calum, 1 fire, and 1 nature. And you're like, why would we be getting that from Calum? Well, Calum knows that I've got a god that's really good at dispelling, so I'm a key figure in dispel plays. And he also knows that we think he's in position 1, which I think he is. And he's like, look, guys, I want to keep these globals up. So he actually, I've never seen this done before. He posted in the game chat and said, look, it's no secret I'm in a good position. I want to keep the globals up. Message me if you want a part of the globals, and I'll be willing to share. And I offered to my offer was this. I sent him a message. I said, look, I've got a crazy amount of death income. It'd be really nice if I had Well of Misery up, but I don't have the research to do it yet. So how about you let me go 50-50 with you on a well, and then I won't work with you on I won't work against you to take like well down or or Maelstrom. Like we can leave those up. And I won't contribute in any way to the dispelling of those. And he was like, okay, that sounds fair. And then he later came back and was like, how about we do 12? I get 12 death gems and you get 8. But I'll cover all of the investment, so you don't have to send me death gems to cast Well of Misery. This negotiation didn't happen this turn when he cast it. It happened a couple turns ago. Or one turn ago, I can't remember. But, and so he says, you don't invest anything, I just want your promise that you're not going to take down either of the globals, and I'll cut you in on the income from it. And that kind of works in two ways. Why would if the globals go down, he's going to stop cutting us in, right? And it's worth it for me to, I mean, we could organize a dispel, which I think we would. I certainly would ask. I'd put in my 10 pearls, right? And a position 1 Kalem with these globals. Maelstrom and whatchamacallit, the other one. Well of Misery is actually a pretty big issue. So, anyway, we're now partners in that. I didn't have to send him any gems for him to put it up. He's just going to send me a small stipend of 7 gems in total for me agreeing to not mess with his globals. Now, other people still can, but there's a few other players who are cut in. I believe Ulm is cut into it, and I believe the Monkeys are cut into it. So between all of that, it's going to be really hard for Man, primarily, and like Arithia, who's busy spending all their gems on what's soon to be a pretty desperate conflict, I think. And Flegro, who doesn't really have hardly any Astral. It's going to be very difficult for them to organize a dispel. But if they do, it's still worth it for them because they're denying a bunch of gems from all the other players who are cut into the global. So, all in all, looks pretty sharp. The birds are going to be making out like a bandit. I think when you take how many gems everybody else gets versus how many gems the birds get, they're going to get still 28 gems in total because Maelstrom throws off a ton of gems. Will of Misery throws off a lot. The other thing that's kind of cool about it is we got a nice income bump from Will of Misery going up this turn. So, nice little whoop. Some of this was from land increasing too. But, I think it's like a 10% income bump. So I'm not going to be upset with that. But yeah, that's the relevant news. We'll be expecting Maelstrom kind of soon. So my guess is while Well is up, we're going to be getting 5 gems a turn. And once Maelstrom goes up, we'll get more. So, yeah. Let's take a look at some of the logistics for this turn, because they're kind of interesting. We've got these guys coming here, and they've got, in case this commander dies, we've got a backup. But these guys should pretty easily be able to take out maybe even like 15 or 20 PD. Depending if it's heavy cav, we could get wrecked here. And then these guys probably take out 15 PD, but we're just going to go ahead and spend their lives and hope we get this. If we don't, c'est la vie, but we can accept that. Main army moving down here. We're going to site search here with both of these guys. We had made a Skull of Fire last turn as well. So we're site searching with these guys, and we'll figure out what they do later. But this guy had been my gym mule. Bogarus doesn't get nature access easily, or at all, as a nation. They can find it on Indies. So I'm just going to assume Bogarus' stuff hasn't been site searched for nature. It probably has been site searched for all this stuff, but maybe not at these paths, and we'll just go ahead and check here. I can't really recruit any mages yet, because all of your foreign recruit mages as Ctis require temples. So we're going to have to build a temple here. We actually have... Maybe it's worth it to go ahead and plop it down. I've changed... There's a bunch to talk about. I've changed what I'm recruiting, so we actually have a fair amount of... at one point, this treasury read 100, and it wasn't because I was building infrastructure, it's just I was building mages. And... I've switched from mage production over to primarily priest production because we are now basically 4 or 5 turns away from having construction 8. I don't need more research. Research right now is not really going to affect my construction 8 timing. It's going to be very difficult, even if I'm doing like tons of mage production, to get this in 3 turns. I don't think it's possible, right? So it's going to be 4 turns no matter how many mages I make. And what I want to do is have a ton of priests getting produced that we then, like, I also need to get my Dominion in here. And we got Utgard Dominion, which I don't like. But I want to have a ton of priests, which we're going to send over here and start production. Now, the Holy One priests are very cheap, and they're going to be used to make Long Dead Chaff, which is going to be useful for getting more patrol operations set up so that people without scrying, which there's really not a reason for people to scry this province, so that without scrying, people aren't going to catch anything here. Yeah, you can see we're making another priest here. We're going to turn off all mage production, basically, except for these guys. And do I want to keep... We've switched over to Empoisoners, because they're going to be a little cheaper in terms of upkeep. Well, they're cheaper in terms of upfront cost, more expensive in upkeep, but we're going to probably sacrifice some of them down here. And I might sacrifice all these guys as well and just go ahead and turn them into Soulless. They're really just research monkeys, and it's not a ton, but it's 40 gold a year is probably enough to waste a turn or two of... It's going to be 2 turns, right? Because like it would be 1 turn to move here and another turn to patrol. And they would need to... So it's going to be wasting 2 turns of them to remove all their upkeep, which I think is worth it. But it's not worth it by a lot. It's like barely worth it. But the important thing is we'll be moving them after we finish Construction 8. Once we're finished with research, too, these guys are also priests, so we can have them do things like that. What else? What the fuck else? Yeah, we're getting priest production going. You can see we're turning off, except for that. Like, here we've got priest production going. We're going to need to make another fort. I think this will be it. Like, we got a diseased, because it's midwinter, we got a diseased sage. And potentially, as we cast Skeletal Legion and stuff, we'll have a lot more disease. So I do want to get a fort built here, not only because this is a great province, it's 2, 4, it's a 4-gem province, plus it gives an extra bit of gold. So this is a pretty good place to have a fort. So we'll probably be starting a fort here next turn, and I've got also moving in various priesties. This one's coming from my capital, so we're taking a turn off from training our sacred serpents. But he's going to build a temple here, and then we'll start mage production. Or this one we'll probably actually have doing mages since it's on an active war front, but everything else is going to be priests. Because we can use the mages to like raid and counter raid and things like that. Like, yeah. So overall plan: come in here, do how many appear quite well organized. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of low hanging fruit right now for us in terms of arouse hunger rating, but we also need to save gems. I can't really afford to waste another 24 gems on arouse hungers that don't work. But yeah, hopefully this income bump that we're going to be getting, like hopefully we get up to 3,000 income pretty soon. Like just this turn could put us up at 2,900 or something. Though we are going to get a bit of a downtick in income as winter goes away, because we did have heat scales, and this brings us back closer to our preferred temperature, which I believe is heat 2. Let's take a look real quick. Yeah, heat 2. So right now we're actually at ideal temperature everywhere. So we're going to get a 5% malice. Yeah, next turn as we go back up to heat 3 everywhere. So yeah, logistics for this turn: moving guys here, moving guys here. We've got guys here that are already patrolling, and we're moving guys here to patrol. So we'll have at least a token task force of patrollers in all of our provinces. Now, is 30 enough to patrol out scouts? Not really. We'll get them like a normal scout is, I believe, 40 or 50 stealth? 50? So if we were to have 50 patrol strength, which I don't even think, like, what's the patrol strength on these guys? It's probably garbage. Oh, 1.5, that's pretty good. What's the patrol strength on these guys? 1.3. Okay, so it's more than one. So we'll have probably like a 40% chance to patrol out scouts every turn, which is not a lot, but I don't think we have a ton of people scouting us. And like we've been patrolling this for scouts for several turns and haven't found anything. We've been patrolling this with scouts for several turns and haven't found hardly anything. So we'll get all this set up and just start patrolling out scouts. And, you know, hopefully that works. Wait, this guy's moving here. Yeah, we got a big train of priests moving around. Blood hunting didn't find anything this turn. This guy, who we empowered last turn in blood, making another sanguine dowsing rod. We're going to move them up to one of the sites we're patrolling. So like one of these 4 provinces, most likely here is my guess. And just start blood hunting. We are going to need to make Gift of Kurgi, so we're not going to do another Empower for a while. Our god this turn is making a Ring of Wizardry, because we finally have 80 pearls. And we're going to need this for various things. Not for the first things. And we're going to need to get, whatchamacallit, a harmonica reasonably soon, and a golem. Those are going to be expensive. The harmonica, let me pull it up. All right, so the harmonica, I've got this Excel spreadsheet. I've plotted out my income. This isn't actually current. Let me update it. Okay, so the harmonica, which we want to make, is 40 pearls. And our current astral situation is this. We've got 2 pearls, and we make 6 per turn. So to get to 40, it's actually going to be a hot minute. Yeah, we can alchemize, but it'll be like 6 turns. But this isn't going to be the first thing we make, right? So like we get construction 8, we don't make harmonica. We get construction 8, we make the Ankh, and we make the Gift of Kurgi. So we should have both of these in time, assuming I get a chance to blood hunt one more turn with my god. Yeah. So we'll be making those. I mean, we have to get construction 8, which is 4 turns away, right? And then we have to make these. So we're like down here in like the 5 turns range for making these items. But we're also going to make harmonica, which we're going to need 40 pearls for. So that's going to be quite a ways down here. But it's all in the timing of like what should be reasonable. We can also alchemize if we need to. The other thing so we need to make like a Thistle Mace, a Tome of Gaia. That's going to be kind of important for us as part of climbing. I mean, we could not do a Tome of Gaia. We could also do a Moonvine Bracelet. But it's nice to have the Earth Booster as well, because that's going to be important for making Atlas of Creation. So we probably want to make the Tome of Gaia reasonably soon in this process. But also would like to make Soulstone of the Wolves, which we'll have paths for if we do the Ring of Wizardry and the Tome of Gaia and a Thistle Mace. So that'll be kind of cool to do on our god. We should have the nature income to do that in short order. Basically for this, we just need, this is the income needed to make that, is we need 60 plus 10 plus 10, right? So anyway, we'll have that in a short order as well. And then, yeah, Atlas of Creation is going to be tricky. Earth, you can see we need 85 gems left to make all this. I don't know if this is right. So we need 5 for the Tomb of the Soulstone of the Wolves. We need 40 for the Atlas of Creation itself. We need 30 for one more Empower. And we need 10 for the Tome of Gaia. Now, this actually isn't totally right, because if we have all these, if we have the Tome of Gaia, Atlas of Creation, Ring of Wizardry, we don't actually need the Tome of Gaia for the Atlas of Creation. Oh, no, we do. Because it's going to be Tome of Gaia plus Ring of Wizardry, so it's going to be plus 2. But for our god, right, we don't have boot slots, so we can't do Earth boots. So that only put us to 4, and we need to be to 5 to make this. So the missing link is going to be like a Staff of Elemental Mastery, or we could empower or get a lucky Earth Random Sauromancer, but we're not really recruiting any more of those right now because we're trying to get our timings worked out and more priests, and it's unlikely that we're going to get one in the next couple turns, even if we were to recruit them. So the thing we also need, I'll pause it and put it up here and add it to these totals. So the thing we're also going to need is the Sword of Many Colors. I don't have it here, but the Sword of Many Colors, well, let me repaste it. 1 second. So the Sword of Many Colors, you need to be Earth 4, Astral 3. Now the Astral we've got covered, obviously, on our god, but the Earth 4 is going to require a Ring of Wizardry and a Tome of Gaia. So what we need to do is we need to make the Tome of Gaia, right? We're making the Ring of Wizardry this turn. We need to empower our god in Earth. So when we start looking at these Earth totals, right? This is for the Soul Stone of the Wolves. This is for the Atlas of Creation. This is the next Empower in Earth. This is the Tome of Gaia. What we're then going to need to make is we're also going to need to make the Sword of Many Colors, which is going to be plus 25. It's getting pretty pricey now. And that's also going to cost more pearls, which is going to be another 15 pearls here. So 85 pearls. So these things are going to be a bit farther down the line. Now, it's possible we can alchemize. It's possible we get events. It's possible we trade. So we'll be looking to avail ourselves of all these things. But you can see we've got a long queue of things we're going to forge up. Once we get this is the base. This is what is going to turn our nation on. And so we're going to get these right away. But after that, there's a lot of like things we can do to start optimizing and start fixing some of the problems in our nation. Like this is activating the nation, but these are going to be fixing problems. We're going to be getting a lot of boosters so that we can do more things in the late game. We're going to be trying to control the Atlas of Creation so that we can fix our horrible site searching access. And we'll get the Golem and harmonicas here. The other thing is, if you want to consider how much Astral we need to include a Golem, Golems are 30. And we probably also would like a Ring of Returning or Horror Harmonica. So we're really getting like very far away on pearls. So we really need pearls. Now, the good news is we can alchemize. So, that's something we could look for. I probably should be looking to see if like Erythia can trade away pearls. Like ideally, because I've got water, I should actually ask Erythia if we can trade them more water for pearls. Because they can turn, I can even do this at a rate. Like he gets like a free water gem for every 3 he alchemizes for me or something. So that's actually a good thing. I need to send him a note this turn because water is the one thing it'd be great to break into, but I think more important is getting Astral income earlier now because it's really this, and then also it's like a Ring of Returning, which is like another 15 pearls. Right, and that's like the core, and then really you need to give them a Starshine Skullcap too so they can teleport, right? And so then we're looking at like another 10. And you can just see like when all this stuff is going to come online is like getting farther and farther, like 20 turns from now. Like what the fuck? That's so long away. So we need to get more, it's possible Bogarus is going to have more sites, but it's also possible we spend more pearls and stuff as part of our conquest of Bogarus. So anyway, this is some of the planning that's going into it, because I think the thing that you don't want to have happen, or I don't want to have happen, is when we're doing this thing to get Construction 8, not for all these things, which are actually most of the cost that I'm planning all these things around. I'm getting it mostly for this, which is kind of trivial for us to get. But then, to make this like very long and otherwise costly, it would have been great to have Rigor Mortis and all these other things for fighting various nations, and like Evocation 6, and, so I have Banefire, and there's a lot of other cool toys I'd like to have. But since this is the way we went, it'd be great to get up a bunch of ancillary benefits that also are in the long run going to fix a lot of the problems that we have. So that's it. Let's come back to the game. So anyway, as you can see from that, we don't really need much more research than this. We've been planning what to do with all these things. I need to we're going to see if we can trade for more Earth or Astral with Erythia, and send it because they had mentioned they wanted water. Fire gems is a bit tricky too. Let's actually pull fire gems back up because I think I've done it in a test game, but I'll tell you the plan. The basic plan we'll start with before I pull the spreadsheet up is you start with one of these, the Earth randoms, because they've got the Earth Fire cross path for the friendship hat, and I'll tell you what you need for that. Okay, so there's some tricks in making the Crown of Overmight. You need to be Fire 5, Earth 3. The Earth 3 is going to be trivial for us once we have this, the Sword of Many Colors. Because Sword of Many Colors plus Ring of Wizardry is going to get a Fire 1, Earth 1, all the way up to Fire 3, Earth 3. So Earth 3 check. We just need to find 2 more fire paths. One of them we can do really easily with the Skull of Fire, which we already have. And then we need 1 more, right? And that's going to have to come from the Flame Helmet, which will be pretty easy for us to forge, especially with all these boosters. What I'm not sure I have is I'm not sure I've put them all into the needs here. So I've put some of these. I put the fire thing, and I put the flame helmet here. 40, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, that's this. So yeah, we put that in as well. Is there anything else we need that I didn't mention here? No. So we've got that in. So we actually will potentially be able to make, once I make the Sword of Many Colors, which to make the Sword of Many Colors, I need the Tome of Gaia and I need to empower my god and then make the Tome of Gaia, and then I need the Ring of Wizardry, which I already have. So this actually we can do reasonably early. So it's most likely we're going to make the Crown of Overmight significantly before we're able to make some of the things which are going to like require us to go deep in Astral. I would like, and I may do it before I make the Sword of Many Colors, which is going to consume pearls. I probably will make the Harmonica nice and early just to deny it from other players, because this actually is probably the most competitive artifact, and other people have better research than me. So I'll probably try to nab this. This will probably be the first. It's also really great to have, even if you can't do a Harmonica Golem, just because you can do Wailing Winds. So, I could put that on my god, and unless they have some way to cheese my god or something, I have my god do Returning, and I put a Ring of Returning on my god, which I'll need later, right? And I just use her to do Wailing Winds and not summon horrors. So, we'll be going for this nice and early. But as you can see, like, what else am I going to spend Astral on? The first thing is getting these. None of these require Astral. So probably I won't be able to get the Harmonica for several turns unless I can trade water with Erythia. Because it's going to be almost like, if I get it researched in 4 turns, then by the time I do my first forging, I'll have this, like 32. Second forging, which are going to be these 2, right, will be here. And actually, I guess I will have it. So the third forging I might have gems for, even without trading, could be the Harmonica. All right, so I'd go bing, bing, boom. I pick up these. Then I come down and I pick up this shortly thereafter, hopefully with gems I've traded with Erythia. Then, having a Sword of Many Colors, it's going to open up a lot of other things. So I then take this and the Ring of Wizardry, and in the meantime I need to have made a Flame Helmet, so we need to go ahead and queue that up. Which I can do. I'm making the Ring of Wizardry this turn. That means Ring of Wizardry plus Skull of Fire on a fire random Saramancer means I can go ahead and make the Flame Helmet. So I'll go ahead and have that made plenty early. And then as soon as I have the Sword of Many Colors, I'll already have these other 2 boosters, and we can slap this out. And that is going to be my ticket towards stealing all sorts of crazy shit. It's also going to open up really cool plays, like my god can potentially solo armies. Oh, the other item that I potentially want to get, I'll show it to you. We'll pull it up. Oh, I can't do it with this particular setup, I just realized. But the other item that is really good to mention here is the Jade Mask. Now, if I get the Jade Mask, I can't put it on my god while I'm also wearing the Crown of Overmight. And this is cursed, so once I put it on, it's like on for good. But the Jade Mask, my god can also do Rigor Mortis, but my god can basically do a play where we do, like, let's say we have to fight a man army, right? I don't want to get rocks dropped on me all game, right? So what do? We do like Temper Flesh, personal regen if we're in my dominion. And that's going to make it so it's very difficult to kill me with rocks, because rocks aren't very accurate. Like if I get hit, Temper Flesh is going to reduce it. Maybe I have like an item that gives my god luck as well. That's going to make it really hard to kill my god. And then we can give her various other items. But once Rigor Mortis goes up, the rocks are going to stop coming down. The mages are going to go to sleep, mostly for the rest of the game. And then if I have her on Advance and Cast, as the troops start dying, she'll have Soul Vortex up potentially as well too. As I have her on Advance and Cast, people are asleep, the skeletons are going to be killing stuff, but she's also going to be stealing dudes. So it's a great way to like steal a bunch of really cool mages. So yeah, that could be fun. But it's also the kind of situation where you, like this like ultra high investment on the god. I don't want to get my god killed. She could get soul slayed or a bunch of other things. So you have to be really careful about the kit. But we have like blood, because we are a late age Ctis with blood on our god, and so we can make things like Armor of Souls, which also, when we're not using it, can just be like helping us blood hunt a little bit better. Not a great investment, but it's at least it's sitting around doing something. And that's going to really help if we're worried not so much about like rocks dropping on us, but stuff like Soul Slay. So, and then this is going to cast Resist Magic on our god. So we get, it doesn't show it in the stats here, but you get like +4 MR as well. And then the 30% reduced damage also is going to help a tiny bit against Gifts from Heaven. So yeah, just kind of a lot of different things that we can do. A lot of things. And we can twice-born our god too. That's kind of on. So we have a lot of things for our god to do. Let's come back and talk about. I've talked about all the stuff we're gonna have to do to get these artifacts forged, but I haven't necessarily talked a lot about the immediate things for our god to do. So we're gonna make the Ring of Wizardry here. Then the next move we're probably gonna make is Empowering an Earth. We can do that next turn. And then we're probably going to go back to Blood Hunting. It would be really nice, by the way, to get rid of this Never Healing Wound. If I find it, we might just teleport to our... The problem with teleporting to our cap is I kind of want to... Yeah, we're making the Ring of Wizardry now. It would be nice once this turns warm. We might be able... Yeah, we will be able to. If I take off this armor, actually, we could do it right now. Right? Leave the armor on. But anyway, it's nice to know I can take this armor off. We can move over here, we can cast Twice Borning, then we can teleport to the capital and start working at getting this affliction gone, this Never Healing Wound, which is really annoying. We also could potentially... Maybe I could... Yeah. Anyway. I was thinking I could also teleport her in the lake. Trigger... So we could do... This is the other option. I could move her here... Twiceborn, teleport into the lake. It's going to send her home. She'll be now as a white mage, which in some ways is going to be spookier. It gives me some less options with like things we can do, but we're going to have more hit points. Unfortunately, it's going to bring her back as a size 5. So we'll have to like look to empower her to like really optimize things. Not empower, but enlarge her. But because we have... Oh, we don't have recuperation in our Bless. Yeah, so that's actually a problem. We don't want to do that because Never Healing Wound is not going to go away. Like, we have capital recuperation on, but it only applies to the chassis. It doesn't apply to, it's not part of our Bless or something. So if we turn into a white mage, which is what I was thinking for a minute, like, oh, we'll just recuperate this affliction in our capital as a white mage, but that won't work. It applies to the chassis. So really, we probably move here, teleport here, get rid of the Never Healing Wound, which can be pretty important for things like rocks dropping on you. And, yeah. But we do want to be Twiceborn, and I might not need to... We might need to get one more Blood Hunt in. We've got some Blood Slaves on this guy. We've got 7, and we're getting, I think, 4 passively a turn, right? So next time we'll have like 11. I need to get up to 40, so that'll be 34. I think it'll be okay. I don't think we actually need to blood hunt with our god again. I mean, it'd be nice to. That's how our god's going to spend turns where she doesn't have anything better to do. But I think the optimal move might be Ring of Wizardry, move Twiceborn. So that's 2 turns from now. We have 1 turn when my gods cast Twiceborn here before we have Construction 8 done. We teleport to our capital, and the first turn that we have Construction 8 done, our god is in our capital and ready to sit there and forge a bunch of shit. And at the same time work down this never healing wound. And so I think that's going to be the sequence. I hadn't thought through this until now. So I think that's going to be the sequence for our god to get all the things done we need to, and also have her ready in the capital for when she's going to have a long series of forging activities ahead of her. And she's going to first make the Ankh, second make the Gift of Kurgi, fourth make the... Fourth, she'll probably empower... Gift of Kurgi. She'll probably have to empower an Earth. And I'll probably use that turn to make some other miscellaneous artifact that I don't really care about. That's like a death, like the death thing that gives you death gems. 1 death gem a turn or something, right? Or a fever fetish or something. There's a bunch of little miscellaneous ones I can fit in. So I'll probably do that while we empower our god in Earth. Then we'll make the Sword of Many Colors, and that will trigger us also doing the Flame Hat. Then we'll make the Tomb of Gaia. Then we'll either do Soulstone of the Wolves, or maybe we do Soulstone of the Wolves. There's just so many things. It would be nice. I need to make the Ring of Wizardry this turn. It might be that I don't Twiceborn my god. I could just skip 2 steps and go straight to the capital. So we might do that. It's nice to have my god Twiceborn. I can Twiceborn him in the cap. It's just going to cost... a few more death gems. That's not a huge deal. So I think we do that. We're going to skip this because I realize now that to do the Earth Empowering, it's going to slow down all the artifacts by a turn. So we're gonna skip the Twiceborn, saving a little money by Twiceborning here. We're gonna we'll probably Blood Hunt another turn. We'll next turn we'll summon Earth, or we'll empower an Earth. Then we're going to teleport to the cap and Blood Hunt. We'll probably Blood Hunt our cap until it's ready to do... We might do 1 more turn Blood Hunting here and then teleport to the cap the turn we have Construction 8. But we're going to be empowered in Earth 1 more time before we do that. And that's going to save us turns. So that'll all be pretty good. And the exact timing of some of these artifacts is going to depend. Like I probably... It would also be really nice to get Soulstone of the Wolves pretty early. To do that, all I need to do is make the Tomb of Gaia. So maybe... Slot 3, we make the Tomb of Gaia. Slot 3, we make the Horror Harmonica. Slot 4, we make the Tomb of Gaia. Slot 5, we make the Soulstone of the Wolves. That's also a pretty competitive artifact. Slot 6, we make the Sword of Many Colors. And then we have to use that to make the Flame Helmet, so we can't do the Friendship Hat slot 7. I think we do that slot 8. I've lost count of the things. I'd have to write it down. But anyway, that's kind of like a rough idea of things. And so these things we're going to have a lot of the artifacts we need by turn 50, which is probably because Man's getting really big, Kalem's getting really big, but also by turn 50, we're going to start having like tremendous amounts of sacred. So turn 40, our build comes online. Turn 50, we're kind of in full bloom. And we're going to have all the tools we need to start doing crazy shit. And and then we'll probably start being a lot more aggressive. We'll probably, who knows? This game's going to start going really crazy really fast. Man-eating Utgard, not great news for us. Anyway, I think we'll end it here. But you can see these are all the things like I spend time optimizing and trying to figure out so that we're going to have all the things where we need them. Like, this is basically the logistics of Dominions, making sure things integrate, right? Like, you get to the point and you have all the things you need when you get to that point to do the things you need to do. Best case scenario is we're able to take Bogarus's cap and surrounding lands by turn 50. And this war's closed out. The monkeys have come in. They've taken this fort. Ideally, monkeys kill these guys, and I'll kill the guys in the cap. It would be nice to bring... We're bringing some more sacreds over here, but it would be nice to have even more. Be nice to have even more. I don't really have more I can bring, trivially, right? Like, we could try to bring these tomb worms. How many is it? It's like 8. Yeah. 8 tomb worms. That's not really going to swing things. I could like try to get a Mound King or something, but I think we're just going to accept that these guys are going to remain here. I'm not bringing tomb worms in either of these places, am I? No. So we're going to have tomb worms patrolling in this fort. Okay. And then none over here. So anyway, I think things are going reasonably well. Things could go pretty badly if Bogarus stack wipes us. So that's kind of like the thing we're going to try to avoid. And as long as that doesn't happen, things will be okay. Ideally, like I was saying, we get Bogarus's cap in the next 10 turns. But we're going to be really careful taking it. I'm not really on the clock to take it, and I need to be a little careful. It's possible... Yeah, I don't know. Things are just going to depend. I'm not going to... We need to see how things play out with the monkeys before I start speculating too much on exact troop movements. But very likely I don't go straight for the cap. Very likely we come over here, threaten the cap, and then start taking the land around it. But yeah, tune in next time and see what all happens. I'm also on the peel every turn, or hunt every turn. We're renewing these bids, but every turn I'm hoping that we get... we could potentially take a shot at... might be good to get these guys here. How much do they want? 180? Let's put that in. Celestial Apostates. I can't remember what these are. Let me check. All right, so I've got to put bids in them for this one. This one, you get 10 Elite Sacreds. And this one, you get just a bunch of garbage. But it can be nice having a bunch of garbage. So we're going to try to do that to buff up this army. And that's going to make it much easier if we do end up... because if we win these, we're going to get 1, 2, 3. So we'll get a few turns. If we do decide to go for their cap, it'll be a lot... It'll be very nice to have these mercs also in position to do it. And so, like, I guess we will... I'll lie, make a liar of myself, and talk through some of the potential troop movement. So, like, big armies coming here, right? Big armies going here. So this is like the mercenary army. This is this army. And potentially this will be reinforced by more mercenaries next turn. Turn after that, this army can come up here. And this army can either go here or here, depending on if there's still stuff in the capital. Right? If there's not stuff in the capital, we'll definitely go here, because that will set up a combined attack on the capital this coming, or the turn after that. If the army still is in the capital, moving here could be dangerous because this is a pretty predictable move for these mercs to come here. So I probably would send the mercs here instead. Right? But that would mean I have less to concentrate on the capital, so I would actually kind of need to... the turn I'm planning on moving this big army here, I'll also take the scout and move it here so that we'll be able to see the full reinforcements potentially coming into Bogarus's cap. And... anyway, from that point, we'll make a decision if we go on top of the cap or not. Yeah. The other thing we can potentially do, and I wonder if the timing could work out. Can we teleport on their cap? No, it's 1 out of range. We could make like the astral window item or whatever and teleport on top of their cap with my god with the Ring of Returning. But that's going to delay our horror harmonica timing, so I don't think we'll do that. But anyway, it is an option. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons I probably wouldn't want to do that. There's a lot of ways to get horror marked and stuff. They call horrors on the cap or stuff like that. So yeah, we'll just see. But I can already see it kind of happening, how we're going to have the mercs. They'll be consolidating around the bottom part of their cap. We can potentially move on it. Yeah. So that would be really cool if that happens. And if we can get... I mean, hell, if we get all of this from the Bogarus War, we'll be in pretty good shape. We'll be in pretty darn good shape. Because that's going to give us a ton of gold to start fueling our, what I think will be a pretty massive priest production run. Like right now, I know this keeps going and going. We're getting 2, 4. Well, in terms of sacreds, we're just getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll be getting 6 a turn. And then at the beginning, we're probably going to be getting some of these guys for chaff generation. So we'll probably be getting like 5 a turn holy ones. And like 6 a turn holy. The other thing we can do. So I really don't need these guys. I think we just start going like full ham into priests. I think even our capital. It's going to save us a ton of money. It's going to help us get up more infrastructure. Because we're going to need a lot more infrastructure with all these priests we're making. Yeah. So this is looking mighty fine. So yeah, I mean, we're going to be getting so many sacreds a turn. Yeah, it's going to be completely freaking nuts. Completely nuts. And we'll have 4 turns of this, right? So if we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even a little more. We'll call it 8 because some of these are going to be making, 8 sacreds a turn. We're going to have 4 turns to make them before our first, or maybe 5. So the first time we do it, probably 6. It'll be 6 times 8. We'll convert probably close to 50 H2s into undead. And I think you know what that means. 50 H2s means we get like 50 sacreds a turn from that, like when that happens. So it's like 6 turns from now, we're gonna have 50 a turn. And then every few turns we'll do it again. And it's gonna be crazy. So anyway, see you then. Take care.